Look at this place. This is gross. You have a problem. I brought you something. Hi, Frank.
You have got to be kidding me. That thing is going to murder me in my sleep.
Somebody's gonna murder you in your sleep.
Frank, you need a project. Today we're going to start a garden.
I'm not gardening.
My program's goal is to improve your health.
I would rather die eating cheeseburgers than live off steamed cauliflower.
Frank and Robot.
Man, I love, like, tonight we're just reviewing movies with cranky old men.
By the way, that it's supposed to be Robot and Frank. I realized I messed up when I love it when you go to, because this is being released in indie theaters, right?
Right, right.
And I went up to the theater to the box office and I did ask. It was at the Violet Crown. Violet Crown is great.
Yeah.
But I did say Frank and Robot. The movie is Robot and Frank.
Oh, okay.
And I was wondering why the girl behind the counter was looking at me like, "Oh, you poor dumb soul."
She gave you a bowl of Frankenberry cereal. She's like, "Here you go, sir. Fine cuisine at the Violet Crown."
Thank you.
Sir, you do realize there's no Transformers in this, right?
Goddamn.
What the hell? Yo, Optimus.
If you say the name wrong, I mean, I thought it was enough to just be seen in the indie theater. Apparently, if you don't say the name right, you're stupid.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, fuck it.
No,
whatever.
I mean, I fucked up too, and it's like, how many goddamn Frankenfurters? Everybody running out of title ideas.
Yeah, but Frank and whatever. But no, this is
Frankenbeans.
This is Robot and Frank. And you know something, Leon? You're exactly right. We just finished discussing an old movie about.
Well, not an old movie, a new movie.
I mean, I'm sorry. God damn it. No wonder that girl was looking at me like, you stupid. Maybe because I am. No. We just got through watching a movie about an old guy. We were talking about Trouble with the Curve.
Yeah.
With Clint Eastwood, who plays a cranky old guy who is kind of out of touch with the modern world. And we were talking about how cliched that movie. I mean, and we said this in the review. We're going to use the words that are cliched and stereotypical for a review. Cliched, stereotypical, and predictable. I have to say, after watching that movie, it was a treat to come in and watch a movie about the same subject matter, take it on in such a fresh narrative.
Yeah, just done 1,000 times better. Yeah. and it also made me realize why Leon and I make such a great team.
You got the old guy with the robot.
Oh, you son of a bitch.
You got a cranky.
That's why I hate technology. I'm going to deactivate you.
I know.
Where's my son?
You got a cranky old guy who doesn't believe that video games don't have a story.
You remember when I brought you on co-hosting and Leon was like, what is this? Yeah. We need a real person to review movies, not this goddamn washing machine. when did microwaves start watching movies?
Yes, but once I realized that co-host was also a kleptomaniac, we've become fast friends.
Yeah.
So we're gonna
You two go shoplifting together. Yeah.
We're gonna pull some capers, you and I.
No, man, that's why this movie's great, dude.
Yeah.
It's about a dude who rejects technology. You have Frank Langella.
Which throws you off because the movie's called Robot and Frank, and it stars Frank Langella. Because I thought it was some kind of documentary about Frank Langella just touring a robot shop.
No, it's like, well, hey, that motherfucker's so old they actually get him a robot.
Yeah.
Make sure he don't shit himself. Or something.
You thought it was about Frank Langella being turned into a cyborg or something. But no, it's about a guy. Frank Langella plays Frank the Crank. Yeah, he's a cranky old dude, and he's living at home by himself. But he's starting to. We can see a little bit of maybe a hint of Alzheimer's setting in. At least his memory's going.
Yeah.
And his son, I got to say, played by a very good
James Marsden.
Yeah, his son comes in and says, look, I'm driving 5 hours every weekend to come see you. God damn it, I'm getting you a robot to take care of your ass.
Well, and it's like, you know what? You were a shitty dad. I shouldn't be doing this.
And furthermore, when I drive 5 hours to come see you, you still treat me like shit.
I know, you treat me like an ass. So you know what? This is what I brought. And I love how he opened up his trunk. He pulls out this robot. Like, I was like, wow, I remember back in the day when they used to do that to black people. It's like, I got you. They open up the trunk. Here you go.
It might interest you to know that robots, the true translation of robot, and I think it's
black
Russian.
person?
No, it's slave.
It's like,
That's right.
Yeah,
that's true.
It's
Oh,
Russian
okay.
for slave.
I can't tell you how many trunks I was taking that up and giving to old white people. You know, old white people. You know.
I mean, that's why we work so great together.
Yeah, exactly.
We were all understanding that shit.
But so James Marsden brings him his son. He brings him this robot, and he says, "Look, you know, you're gonna talk shit to him, not me anymore. He's gonna take care of you." And the robot this is in the near future, and this is a fully functional robot, able to have cognitive skills, is able to carry on conversations. It's very intelligent.
Frank, it's crucial that we establish a set schedule for your day to help keep you oriented. Frank, I've reviewed your medical records. Are you finding your episodes of disorientation increasing in frequency?
What the hell are you?
I'm a robot, Frank.
Oh, yeah. How you doing?
And as you expect, Frank and his robot, they don't get along. Frank is cranky. He's like, I get this machine out of here. I don't like you. What do you want? Don't mess up my shit. Yeah. Leave it like it is. I want to eat Pop-Tarts and you want to serve me vegetables.
Leave my porno alone.
Yeah. But
And it's also kind of like, look, Dad, if you can't get along with this robot, I'm sticking you in a home.
Yeah.
You better make the best of it.
hello, robot.
That'll scare any old person.
That's when he put his arm around him and said, my buddy. My buddy. But it's not until Frank sees in the robot the skills of, what should we say, thievery.
It's important to note that, like, one of the reasons Frank has been such a shitty dad is that he was a cat burglar who I guess was successful some of the time and spent a lot of time in jail away from his kids.
Yeah.
Which is why they hate him. You know, they're not happy with him. So, yeah, he hates this robot until he realizes, wait, this robot is the perfect henchman to help me steal.
Yeah, he takes him onto a trial run at a library. This library is being modernized. They're taking out all the old books, probably digitizing them, making it a museum. But he's sweet on this woman there, played by Susan Sarandon, who, don't take an old person, be sweet on her. I love this girl.
She's still beautiful.
Yeah, she is.
Still beautiful.
Yeah.
But
she's a robot. Fuck.
yeah, she must be. She's a cyborg.
Spoiler alert.
She's got a robot face and titties. Yeah. But he's sweet on her, but that doesn't stop him from going in and saying, I'm gonna steal a couple of classic books. I'm gonna take this robot on a trial run. That robot passes the test smoothly. He's like, well, shit, I'm back in the game.
I found my partner.
And it's funny because up at that point, I thought, well, okay, this is a sweet old movie about an old guy who learns to be friends with his robot. And you watch them, strolling along down the street and all. But once it comes to that, it flips that corner of where he's like, yeah, I got my skills back. I'm going back to thievery with my robot accomplice.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I just went from kind of liking this movie to fucking loving it.
Yeah, just the camaraderie that they built, especially when you realize that the robot is pretty much manipulated into this whole, thievery thing.
He manages to do that.
Well, Frank, if it helps you get through the day, sure. I have to think about certain things as we continue our crusade of stealing shit.
Yeah, there's something about a movie where you think you're going to learn a lesson and you learn, wow, this is a movie about an old guy who ain't learned a goddamn thing.
And that's what's great. The whole idea that he is stubborn, and this movie isn't even trying to attempt to find any kind of middle ground to where he learns from being with robot, being with like his family comes into play at times. It's like, no, this guy doesn't have time to learn shit. But I love how the movie makes you sometimes think that,
Well, the movie plays. Let me just say that it's great to see a film like this where you have a main character as unapologetic as this, because the movie's about Frank being manipulative to this robot, but the audience is being manipulated too.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy is a thief.
Yeah.
He's going off and robbing. He justifies in his mind why he should be able to rob yuppie couples, especially the guy. There's a guy here in this movie. Is his name Jeremy Strong?
I don't know.
I have no idea.
I just knew he was a pissy douchebag.
But see, that's the thing. That Jeremy Strong plays a guy named Jake. He's a young yuppie guy he's sort of a pissant, but when you get right down to it, he's done nothing wrong. Frank
Bullshit.
What do you
Bullshit.
He was an ass.
Bullshit.
He was an ass.
Because at first he's all condescending. Oh, Frank, you like books. That's so quaint. I must have you at my party.
Well, the thing about the thing about this character is that this character in the movie, you realize this character is there to renovate the library and bring it up to speed. Like he's gonna turn all this shit into
all digital chips. Get rid of all the books.
iPhone tablets.
Yeah.
And he's gonna get rid of all the books. And you realize that when he interacts with Frank, he treats Frank like one of these fucking old dusty ass books.
Yeah.
Like a
You know what?
relic.
You are obsolete, and you just need to not be around
No,
here.
he is condescending, but when you get right down to it, he might have a condescending attitude, but he's done nothing wrong illegally, see, you would be that robot. You fell for Frank's manipulation because that guy. I don't care what you say. He doesn't really deserve to have what's done to him. But but we follow because that's the protagonist. We follow Frank's justification of why he should do this, and it's illegal and it shouldn't be done. But that's what's great about the movie. I love these kind of movies where, well, first of all, when you have a character that character is. When you pull back, the character's a villain. In any other movie, he would be a villain.
It's funny because we see a lot of movies like this. We saw one recently where a character really is, a villain, and yet we're supposed to follow him, be sympathetic for him, just because they're who the focus
Was
is.
that Sleepwalk with Me?
Or they're narrating. No, we'll get to that later. But
Fuck you, Corey.
but here, not only does it do that, but Frank is very charismatic and he's funny and you like him. And anytime Frank Langella is on screen, he reminds you like why he is the great actor that he is. And it's like anytime he's on, you can't wait to hear what he's gonna say.
Yeah.
The way he cusses out the robot and people is funny. I dare say even funnier than Clint Eastwood because you can understand what he's saying.
I will too. No, I will say that this is a much more dimensional character than what
And I give credit, you can't help but give credit to Frank Langella because there's moments when he's actually really vulnerable too.
Oh, yeah.
Where as much as he's trying to play a hard ass at times, you do see some of the cracks. And the cracks usually come when this robot interacts with him. But I think the main focus point is like this is an ultimate this is like the next generation of buddy movies in a way. Just the fact that he's dealing with this robot, he's training this robot. You actually see a training montage where he's learning and shit. But at the same time, the robot is very caring of Frank. Because he realizes that Frank is
he caring though? But see, that's
he totally is.
Definitely.
But see, that's the
Which
question that the
sold it
movie.
to me.
See, that's the question of the movie. Now, there's a lot of dimensions in this film because if you look at Frank, I mean, there's moments where you like Frank, but Frank is a shitty person.
Oh, he is.
Frank is.
No, you're right. You're right.
Frank is shitty. Is majorly shitty to his son, who sticks by him no matter what. And there's even moments where he loves his daughter, played by Liv Tyler, but he's shitty to her. But furthermore,
she's fucking annoying.
She is annoying, but she's trying to help. She's trying to. But the thing is that that's what I'm talking about. The movie asks you to question what are emotions?
Right.
What is caring? What is a friendship? What is a relationship? This robot is a program. Has a sequences of programming that is. It gives the responses that it's programmed to give, and it keeps reminding Frank, "I am not alive. I'm not a real person." But yet, one of the things that's never come out openly and never said that. You can see Frank caring for this.
Oh yeah,
no, Frank sees that there's
this
more
artificial intelligence.
And that's the fun of watching the movie. Frank, in a way, where he was completely just hesitant to even have this thing in his house. He didn't want it at all. But slowly but surely, you started to see him form this bond, and this bond became something more to him. Just like when somebody owns a fucking parrot, like when an old person starts to own a parrot, and that parrot becomes just as much.
But
of a
that parrot is a real thing,
It's a real thing. Yeah, but dealing with the robot, though, I mean, that's kind of what's the selling point in this movie is that he sees a lot more. Even though this robot is explaining to him, "Well, I'm not alive," but I think the movie teases you at times where you yourself are wondering, is this robot really feeling? Because there's moments where you can tell the robot is really caring of the guy.
The robot makes
he's
judgments
out for him.
that are close enough to caring.
Yes.
Close enough to be caring.
See, that's amazing.
Whereas a parrot would not.
Yeah,
a parrot would just sit there going,
But see, that's
which is great
amazing right
storytelling.
there because that was the paradox for me in this movie. The whole movie is like, this is a guy who cannot have relationships with human beings,
right,
but yet is able to form a bond with pretty much an object. But that object is I never thought, and I don't want to spoil anything here, but I never thought that robot cared for Frank, and that was the paradox of the movie. This is a guy who cannot give his love to his kids that well, but can pour it into this robot who gives him the needs that the
robot was willing to meet him on his level.
The robot was willing to meet on his bullshit too of wanting to be of being a burglar again, a cat burglar. But he was,
hey man, we still come here to do this with you.
But
I don't know why.
But you still hear it.
Yeah.
But maybe you can make a good argument there. But but that was the thing. But don't get me wrong. I'm not criticizing any of you guys.
Yeah.
Co-host, you do not feel.
No, I
you
don't.
were programmed to do
I don't
this.
care about jack shit.
But it was just. But you say that out loud. Anyway. But no, that was the paradox of the movie. Not even a paradox. That was the perception of the film. What do you come in and watch, and what do you walk away with? Do you feel like this thing was actually alive, or do you feel like this is a guy who just was able to relate to something? And the irony is, it was something that was truly not able to give him back, only except for what it was programmed to do.
And that's what makes this movie such a great science fiction movie.
Yes.
I mean, really. I mean, it takes you back. It took me back to the great storytelling of like a Twilight Zone episode, or something like
it is a Twilight Zone episode.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's one of the few times you say this movie's like an episode of Twilight Zone, but in a good way.
In a good way, in a nice, humble way. Just, I mean, and it's one of those pro old people movie again, where you're like, man, I like this guy because he is about as honest. Because the characters that he is pretty much introduced to all seem like almost like a shell of people who they're really not. It's like, this is the only guy that really is who he is. While living people are judging him, this robot isn't, in a way. Yeah. But I mean, the fact that it lets you think after the movie, like, wow. I mean, like, we're having this discussion now.
Yeah.
Did the robot really care about him?
That's what I love about artificial intelligence,
Yeah.
man. It's like, at what point are things really alive to us?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at what point
extent will we go to?
Do we personify things?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, do we add a life to them?
Yeah.
And that's what I loved about this movie, because the movie, let you walk away with it. But it never, if you even want to walk, if you don't even see that, the movie's just. It's a humorous film.
It really is.
Yeah. I laughed my ass off.
Yeah, it's a heartwarming film that doesn't. That it's a heartwarming film where, in the hands of lesser directors and writers, this would have been very heavy-handed.
Yeah, I mean, it's the one movie where you're rooting for these guys the whole time. Just the idea of it. You can't. You're anticipating the heist.
Again, the guy's wrong, but you anticipate. You want him to get away.
You really are.
I never agreed that this was right what he was doing. I went from liking his character to saying, Jesus, this guy's an asshole. Why? He got me again.
But he's a lovable asshole.
So you know how James Marsden felt through the whole thing.
I know how you feel. Being friends with me now.
Yeah. I felt so frustrated for James Marsden, but then they introduced the sister who's played by Liv Tyler, and you're like, God damn, this bitch will make you want to go out, run out of the house and steal. I mean, it's like, wow. It's the one movie where I'm like, wow, this guy, I can't blame him for yelling at his daughter, hey, when are you leaving? When are you leaving? You think, man, what an asshole treating your daughter like that. But when she's around the house, you're like, yeah, that bitch does need to leave.
Things were good till you got here.
Yeah, you're cramping that dude in the robot style.
But what I meant by heavy-handed is that this is a movie that could have really just pressed hard what the relationship is between a human and a machine, and it didn't do that.
It doesn't.
It turned into Millennium Man.
There's no scene. There's no scene where I know why you cry.
No, exactly. There's nothing like that. There's just a few glances here and there where Frank is thinking. You really don't know. I mean, you can really take with you what you will from this. I mean, there are points where they say, Frank, this is not your friend. This is a machine. Frank doesn't respond, but we get a few glances of Frank in an expression where we say, well, is he really thinking that, or has he been thinking the same thing as like, yeah, this is just a machine the whole time? I don't know, man. I love this movie. I really do. I really had this is great storytelling. I mean, it's amazing that the guy who did this, I mean, he's been working on this with another writer since 2008. The director, wow. Jake Schreier.
Hey, it shows. It shows.
Yeah, lot of, you can tell a lot of heart and thought went into this film, because this is what great storytelling is to me. When you walk out not only with your own story, but nothing is really given to you. You given just enough to say, you know what? I really can't tell, but I can make up my own story when I'm at the theater.
Oh yeah.
And even though I'm saying like you can't really tell what Frank's emotions is towards this machine, it really does, like you say, Cole, it's feel like a buddy film. It feels like he does bond with this robot. And who doesn't love that shit?
No, who doesn't?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that robot wasn't an asshole.
That is true. I'm like you and I are close co-hosts. You should take a lesson from Robot in this movie.
So what's your rating?
I just want to say, did you notice that was Peter Sarsgaard doing the voice?
Oh, I saw it in the credits.
Yeah.
I didn't recognize his
Did
voice.
you not sit through the whole movie and think, who the fuck is that?
I did.
I thought at first I was like, is Kevin Spacey doing another goddamn robot voice? I'm like, damn, is that the only work that guy can find now?
Yeah. No, man. Yeah.
It worked,
Give us
yeah.
a full price, man.
Yeah.
I love this film.
Yeah, this movie had so much heart, and it makes you laugh and you feel something. And great storytelling is when the movie ends and you don't want to leave that world. You want to know what happens next, and you come out and you think about it, you talk about it more, and you tell your friends, man, you really should see this. And this does all that. And something else this movie does that we didn't really go into is that it really portrays a very close, not too distant future very well, where it looks so much like we have now, but the technology's just bumped up enough to where, you know what, that actually feels realistic.
Yeah.
It's not, I don't see anything here that seems so far out that I go like, oh, come on.
We don't have that, but it is plausible.
Yeah, it's
in the next
plausible.
few months that we will have it.
And even the
It doesn't
robots.
show you a Blade Runner city.
Exactly.
Just to remind you. Yeah.
Exactly. So sometimes you almost kind of forget that it's in the future. And I love how when the robot is first brought out, how clunky it looks. It looks like something that would have a Coleco logo
No,
on the side of it.
it looks like they dressed up a kid in a bunch of Coors Light fucking boxes
Yeah.
and painted it white and just
It looked like George Foreman should have his signature on the back.
And yet it doesn't take long before you totally buy it as a functioning robot. It's like, well, damn, when this is over, I think I'm going to see about getting one of those.
They designed this robot after some actual caretaker robots in Japan that they're trying to use now.
Okay.
Now it's not at the level of this.
Right, but that's probably why it looks
If
familiar.
you look at the
to me.
credits at the end, they actually show you what the influences were for this design.
I think that robot was actually in a Beck video not too long ago.
No, it was in a Daft Punk video.
Oh, Daft Punk too. But both of them.
Oh man.
But for all the reasons we named, just one of the best surprises of this year. It's a high full price.
I'm with you guys. I'm with you guys all the way. I mean, you talk about wanting your people represented in the right way. How sometimes we do get manipulated. Yeah,
he's
we
a credit to
still
your
care.
race, Cole.
Yes, he is. He is a credit to my race. He's a badass fucking thief. I mean, yeah, that's the thing. It is a movie that you just don't want it to end. I mean, you want to keep going along with the adventures of Robot and Frank. They could turn this shit into Heat Part 2. Where Al Pacino's chasing after their ass. I mean, I'm in. I want to see these guys pull off the big heist. Right. But I mean, it's just another movie that I've seen recently where it's sci-fi coming up to the forefront, just reminding people that there are great stories within the sci-fi world that can really like touch bases on all kinds of levels of like just human emotion, like on a level that I haven't seen in movies in quite a while. Where just thinking about an old guy in a relationship with a robot. I mean, that I'm already interested, and I thought this movie did such a great job of portraying that to where you can throw in your own ideas about it. You can step away, talk to your friends like we are talking about it, wondering what was really going on. Yet, you won't pinpoint it, but whatever answer it is, you're okay with,
Yeah.
But I mean, for me, this was a complete, full price. It's almost better than Sex, just because it's just it's one of those small gems.
Yeah.
I would have never have guessed watching this movie.
It's a nice, quiet movie that doesn't overdo what it needs to do.
Yeah.
I mean, you give this to somebody else in Hollywood, they would have overproduced and overdirected
They
it.
would have fucked it up. Period. Yeah.
Or that.
I mean, but I gotta salute it. It's probably like one of the better films I've seen this year.
All right, Cole has been looking to run off with an old white man. Trying to leave us, right?
Driving Miss Leon.
You're starting to grow on me.
Thank you, Frank. It's time for your enema.
I've led a very colorful life. I need him.
What do you need him for?
He's my friend.